This is a presentation about the UX and design thinking process for a language learning app called Langify. My name is Brittany Keith, and I'm the designer for this project. Meet Ashley. She is a 32-year-old and lives with her partner in a very international community of Atlanta, Georgia. Like many people living in metropolitan areas of the US, Ashley has a long commute to and from work every day. She can't take public transportation, so she drives to work, spending about an hour and a half getting to and from work each day. She'd love to optimize that time to learn Spanish. In her free time, Ashley volunteers with Big Brothers and Big Sisters of America. Her little sister's mom is originally from Guatemala and speaks very limited English. In fact, many people in Ashley's community are more comfortable with speaking Spanish than they are with English. Ashley would love to be able to speak Spanish and has actually put in a significant amount of time to learn the language. However, she can't ever seem to understand what's being said around her, and her embarrassment with speaking broken Spanish discourages her from even trying. Ashley knows that the traditional language learning methods haven't worked for her. She's ready to try something different to finally conquer Spanish learning. Like many people in the United States and around the world, Ashley knows a lot of her chosen foreign language, but she just can't speak it. Looking at our problem statement, we can see that Ashley needs a way to learn a language on the move because she spends an hour and a half of her day driving, at least. We know this will be true when she optimizes her commute time by studying a language. We can also see that Ashley needs a way to hear the vocabulary she's already learned in authentic contexts because she still has low comprehension after many years of studying Spanish. We will know this to be true when she starts to understand the language around her and starts to communicate with her neighbors with confidence. I believe that by creating a language learning app that focuses on comprehensible input and teaching proficiency through reading and storytelling, for Ashley, she can acquire her target language during her commute, and she will start to understand the language used around her and communicate with her neighbors. To summarize again, these are the challenges that Ashley faces. She has a long commute time. She usually listens to podcasts or the news as she wants that time to be productive. She can't understand Spanish. Ashley has studied Spanish for 6 years, but she still can't understand the language or easily find the words to speak. She's embarrassed that she can't speak Spanish better, and she's frustrated that she can't understand her neighbors. In creating a language learning app for Ashley, I put together the following user flows. For the first task, she will practice vocabulary before listening. However, after testing and more consideration, I would move the flashcards as an option on the home screen. For the second user flow, I thought it would be a good idea to be able to slow down the audio speed like you can do on YouTube. This user flow shows the steps to get to that option, to slow down the audio speed to 0.75. In following the UX process, I designed some very low fidelity prototypes to show what screens may look like for the app delivered to Ashley. And for the second task, once I had the low fidelity mockups ready, it was time to test. I recruited 3 participants with similar issues to Ashley in their language learning journey. In a 15-minute interview, I asked the participants to complete the following tasks. First, open the app and sign up as a new user. Second, listen to a story in listen-only mode. which would be perfect while driving. Third, slow down the audio to 0.75. And fourth, practice preloaded vocabulary words. After the users gave me feedback on the app, I found quite a few problems. On the first task, users were confused if they had to sign up with Google or Facebook. Users also didn't want to choose a username to sign in. They just wanted to use their email. So as a solution, I would research other login pages to see how they might make it more obvious that it's optional to sign up with Google or Facebook. And I would remove the username option and just let users sign in with their email address. On the second task, users may have confusion with the Common European Framework language proficiency levels. And also, a user didn't like the icons for watch and listen only. So as solutions, I changed the language levels to starter, elementary, intermediate, and upper intermediate. And then for the watch and listen or listen only, I would just have that be a pop-up on its own rather than having it on its own screen. On the third task, the user could not find the playback speed button in order to slow down the speed to 0.75. I made the assumption that because many people use YouTube, they would easily be able to find that, but that was a mistake. So I would increase the size and highlight the button so that it pops out for users. Also, on an onboarding session, they would also be pointed to this area. On the fourth task, I found the biggest usability issues. One user, well, many users, 2 users, said that there are too many steps to take until you find the flashcards. Also, the users didn't understand the buttons at the top and the bottom of the screens. So, to address this, I would take away some of the options from the home screen and add in a flashcards option for ease of location. So maybe just have flashcards and listening. And I would also include an onboarding session before the user ever does their first lesson. This process gave me some really good insight into what goes into creating a mobile application. On the next iteration of the language learning app, I would do a few things. First, I would follow the old KISS adage, keep it simple, stupid. Rather than trying to have every possible option, I'd focus just on listening and flashcards. The listening could come in the form of music or dialogues or whatever, but too many buttons on the home screen made it difficult to find key features. I would also make sure to have a complete onboarding process and would need to put more thought into the user flows and the information architecture before moving forward. I learned a lot about the design process. I learned that designing a logically laid out application takes time and thought. I also learned that whoever said test early and often was definitely right. From the user's confusion about the buttons, I learned not to just make assumptions about people's ability to infer directions. With the confusion about what I wanted the functionality to be of the app, I learned to start with the end in mind and to be clear about the goals and the objectives. Finally, for the testing process, I learned to be open to feedback and to welcome mistakes. Thank you for listening.